So we're ready to start building some kind of a structural support system for our facade, our curvilinear shape that's sitting out in front here. And I've hidden that so we can just see the frame that we're going to build. And this is a relatively simple frame. I would invite you to maybe experiment with adding some points in. I'm just trying to keep it lightweight and simple so I can run through the process quickly. But we're going to use 5 points. And we're kind of triangulating some of our connection points. I don't really see this as being the most efficient way to attack this, but I'm going to just follow through with the way I've constructed it. And these blue lines up here are going to be diagonal bracing. We'll add those in later on. So let's go ahead and start building this adaptive component. So I'm going to go to File, New, open up a family, and look for a generic adaptive. Generic model, Yes, adaptive. That way we can enter our control points. And we want them all to be, we want our frame to be collinear. So I'm going to set our plane here and then put some points on it. And I'm going to go from top to bottom and then work my way back. And like I said, 5 nodes. And if we look at this from the right-hand side, you can see we have, these are our 2 back frame nodes. And I'm not concerning myself with actually where they're located in space because, as we know, we're going to connect these 2 nodes. But they're in the general order. And the next thing we want to do is make those adaptive. And we can look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have them going in a counterclockwise kind of rotation, something to keep in mind when we start to work with placement. Next thing we have to do is think about our reference lines for us extruding our elements out. So I'm going to go ahead and start making some reference lines. We're going to jump to a 3D view. Reference line, make sure our 3D snapping is turned on, and start connecting some of the dots. And I think that's basically the kind of elements that we had placed in there. All right, so we'll leave it at that. All right, so the most important first element is that back truss that goes through there, the back extrusion. And I'm going to set a point there so we can draw that out. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do it with a polygon. Oops, I didn't set my plane. Let's make sure we set the plane right here. And we'll grab that tool again. And we're going to make it like 4 inches wide, but we actually want to make it deeper. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and select that point, and we'll get a dimension that comes up. And let's make that, since it's 8 inches, we're going to make it 16, and I'll tell you why in a second. That moves that out 16, and now I'm going to take this and make this 1 foot, and that'll put our constructing line right at the back plane, which is where we will touch the wall. So we have a channel now that we're going to extrude out that's 1 foot deep and 4 inches wide. I believe 4 inches, 8 inches. Well, actually, let's change that. Let's go to, because that looks really wide. So let's make that 6. So that'll, and then let's make it, let me select this line and make this 4. And that's moved us in. So now that we have a 4 by 12 inch grid or rectangle. And now we're ready to make that into a section. So I'll grab that and the reference line and create the solid form. Now we need to make some struts for that. So I'll just go ahead and start. Actually, I'll place a few points right away just so we kind of stay as efficient as we can. It looks like I'm going to have to back out of this because it looks like I actually had more reference lines showing than I thought I did. And let's put some, go back to these. And we're going to go ahead and extrude out some 4-inch tubing on these. So I'll do these one by one. Grab our Polygon tool. Oops, set our reference point. Go to the next one, set our working plane. It's going to be on kind of an obscure angle, so I might just rotate this back a little bit. And we've got one more to do down here. Whoops. Okay, so now we have our structure, and what I want to do now is just go through and at least grab one of these elements right away. And I have to click through, so I grab the whole element, tab through. And we're going to make these red, so I'm going to make a new material. Create a new material. I'm going to rename it red structure. And we'll give it a red color. And I don't think those show up until you're actually in the other, you've imported those in. So now I'm just kind of multiple selecting these. I'm going to go ahead and add that to red right away. And then go down and do this one. Okay, I don't think I saved this with a name, so I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to save it as a family into our file, and we'll call this Truss. Truss Frame. And we'll go ahead and load that into the project. And we really want to put it into shape nodes. And right away it's going to ask us to want to do a placement of it, except we're not in a really good angle for that. So I'm going to go to the 3D view, and I'm going to reselect it, the component, Truss Frame, and we're going to go through counterclockwise just like we drew it. 1. I don't know why that's not moving yet. There we go. Just a really slow screen redraw. I'll come over to this node. And then we've got this other node. I'll go up. Well, I'll leave it at that one. And then we'll leave it 1 from the top here. And then I'm going to stop that. And we'll just swing around just so we can see what we've got here, right? So we're attached to our grid. We're completely out of line. I grabbed the wrong baseline, or the wrong second grid. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I'm sorry to not have gotten that right the first time. I wasn't paying good attention. I'm going to do that one more time. And it's just really taking a long time to do that real screen redraw. And now we're going to just use that and copy it over a bunch of times using our repeat command. And we're going to get more than we really want. We almost wanted them to be every other one. We're also not behaving adaptively over on this end, and I'm not sure exactly what's wrong there. It looks like we get out of alignment here. So I'm going to go through and see what the problem is there. It could be that we have made an extrusion that's longer than the points are. So I'm going to go through and take a minute to figure out how I could, if I can correct that element. And we'll resume the video after that.